Kia ora e te whānau. Now, I know we're supposed to be doing another page that we selected, but I came up with something exciting. Well, I think it's exciting. So here are the pages that we've made so far, just to recap. And they are looking like they're going to make a cute little journal for our Come Make With Me journal. And now, I know what you're thinking. This looks like a belly band. Bear with me for a second. You know that in the movie The Labyrinth, when Sarah first goes into the labyrinth and there's that really long hallway of bricks that's like a maze that just goes on forever and she can't get out of it, and then she meets that little worm and she realizes that there's a false wall and she goes behind it. Well, that's where I got this idea from, which is why I've called it the Labyrinth Belly Band, because as you can see, it disappears. It does not come out to the other side, which means if you had something small, like a little note or a secret letter, that could stick right in there and nobody would ever see it, and then you could still treat it like an absolute belly band to disguise it even more. Now, the other thing is, on the other side, there is little hidden pockets. And you will notice that nothing is pushing out the things that I've got on this side. So if you want to stick around and make this, that's what we're going to make today, is the Labyrinth Belly Band. And I'm also going to make these different kind of tag tops as well. So yeah, if you are in the Come Make With Me, as I go through, I'll tell you which bits and pieces I've put into the Come Make With Me folder. If you're new here, welcome. Happy to have you. Grab a cuppa, settle in, and just watch if you like. If you do want to end up doing the Come Make With Me, everything will be in the description. But other than that, it's just a come, sit, get cozy, and have a craft. All right, shall we make it? Let's go. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I'm going to use some of this ledger, but you can see it's obviously been water damaged, which, don't get me wrong, I love, but it did make it to the point where I didn't really want to scan it because those ripples catch the light of the scan. I have scanned it, so if you're happy with it, that's in the Come Make With Me folder for this week. I have scanned some of my gorgeous Girls Own pages, and I've made them into double pages. I'm not actually going to use them like that, but there is no reason why you guys couldn't, so they should fit perfectly as an A5 for some extra pretty little pages. I think there's 4 different ones in there in the folder for this week, and I've just grabbed some music paper. I did find a lovely little piece of music from my Girls Own, and it's from 1895, so no worries about copyright. And there was a love song in there, so I've double paged a love song one as well. So you could use that one instead if you wanted to. And I will put this gel print in. I just wanted a single-sided one because we actually have to, you'll see, stick this on in a kind of a funny way. And along here, just to make it easier for me, because I cannot, if you ever have problems with me with my inches and centimeters, I cannot focus on trying to do a video and converting metric into imperial or vice versa. So I do my best, I promise, and I usually will put any that I missed up on the screen as well when I'm editing. So an A5 is just slightly shy of my centimetre measurements here. So if I hold that up, that's why I've got my A5 there, and hopefully you can see it's a couple of millimetres off and a couple of millimetres off that side as well, just so that it's centred. These are the only measurements you are going to need, is from your halfway fold of your A4 in 5 and from the edge of your A4 in 5, so that this here is our belly band. So I'm just going to go away for a second, and all I'm going to do is I am going to, because nobody wants to watch paint dry or glue dry specifically, so I'm just going to cut this piece to an A5 using my measurements on my masking tape. Okay, I am back. So all I have done is cut this one in half, and I should have said this is on, if you can see that, really different paper. This is Awagami washi paper, Awagami, and it prints really lovely, but because that's not white, you might just notice that your when you print it, it comes out just slightly different in colour than this, because I made them to print on white like you will be. So this would be slightly darker, maybe slightly more of a cream tone mixed with the printing ink. So that's going to go there, and that one's going to go there. And I've just made this one slightly bigger than it needs to be, only by about 1/4 of an inch. I need to cut this guy pretty much in half first. So if I line him up, it's about midway. And no, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be cut in half, because this part is going to go under the belly band mechanism anyway. So you've got a lot of leeway there. Another little hint, little tip that I've learnt. Have you ever, with the older papers, had an issue using your paper cutter or using a craft knife and it just rips the paper, and then you've had to use scissors? If you just go through really lightly twice instead of trying to make the cut the first time, because that's exactly what this paper was doing to me, you'll get a nice cut. So it took me a while to figure that one out. Everyone already probably knows that, but it's okay. It's fine. So I do want to have a pretty good idea of where my middle is, because we were a little bit over. So I need to glue that guy about there, so that I've still got that 0.5 that I had in the first place. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that on flat, and I'm going to glue that on, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of time to dry, and then I will be back. Okay, so that's all we've done so far. Just glued one half on, and you can use anything you like over there. You can use the double page, you can use anything you like there. The only thing is, I find the illusion, I don't know, it works better if it looks like it's a continued piece, either of music, of a ledger, rather than a random pattern. But I mean, even a random pattern would work. It's just, yeah, the more obvious that it's a pattern that's being split, the more the illusion kind of looks like the labyrinth maze. And last week someone did ask me what glue I use in my random bottle. This is what I use. It's a clear glue, very much like Fabri-Tac. It's got acetone in it, so it's got the quick drying, but it's about $22 New Zealand for a 500 ml. So it's very, very good value, and I swear by it. It is a great glue. So now what we need to do is, and you will need a reasonably big size piece of paper for this. I would start with something this big. I am actually just going to use a white piece of copy paper, and I'll just explain why. Because half of this, when I've folded it, you're not going to see, and it's going to be a waste of this. If you've got a single printed sided, so something like this, and you are gluing it on, you make sure that the picture side is facing up, just like this is, okay? If it's double-sided, like something like that, then you wouldn't need to worry at all. But in this case, I am going to just use white copy paper, and then I'm going to stick a piece of this on the front of the belly band so that I'm not wasting this beautiful piece of paper. Okay, so just going to, I'll use a little, because that's very old paper, and eventually, it's not brittle yet, but it might be in future. So I'm going to back it just a little bit to strengthen how the pocket's created. So I would say a good 2 inches, 5 centimetre glue area in here. And then I'm just going to pop this over top like that. And we just want to make sure that that paper is lining up nicely at the top there. Go. Now this is when these measurements come in. So we have the edge of our paper there, which we're just going to put on my end of my A5 mark. Make sure it's lined up along this line as well. And the first fold we want to make is, that's the end of my A5, so in at 5 centimeters. So I am just going to hold, and you could measure this and do a score line if you want to, but I'm just going to do it this way. It does not have to be perfect either. You're just going to get the squareness of your fold needs to be good, otherwise you can end up with a wonky lopsided pocket. But how far you come in exactly is the only difference it's going to mean, is that your belly band might look slightly off center, but in terms of the mechanics it won't change anything, I promise. So there is our first fold, and that was right there at our 5 centimeters. Then we want to fold it back on itself at this 5 centimeters. So I'm just going to bring it across until we get to our 5 centimeters, about there. And I'm just going to turn it and make sure that I'm lining these two up so that I get a nice straight fold again. Just check that it's quite square, move it up a little bit. Yep. And now, honestly, we're almost there. The next one is that I'm just going to turn it over, and I want to fold right where that is. So I'm just going to use the fold underneath it to help me refold it. Okay, so I've ended out a little bit, maybe a couple of millimeters difference there. And now I'm going to just chop off this excess. I do need a slight fold, so I'm going to chop through about here. I hope this one is easy enough to follow. I'm doing my best. Okay, so what we have is we folded, we came out to this 5 centimeters measurement, we folded it, we then folded it that one, and then this is just to close our belly band so that this is a nice neat edge for sliding things under. And then we have this pocket here, and this is where the options come in. I now need to just cut, I'm just going to cut a little piece of this and glue it on, so when I come back, and I will probably make it slightly bigger and fold that under so that it's a nice clean edge and I can't see this white at all. But this next part is where you've got an option. Either you can just leave this as a belly band on this side, or you can do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to open this up and I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and just sew lines there so that they then become the 3 pockets for the tags that I'm going to put in. So all I'm going to do for now though is I'm going to I'll just not talk and then I'll fast forward this bit, because you never know, someone might find it helpful. Okay, so now I have my covered belly band, which we're obviously going to decorate, and yes, I will ink it as well as I do, and I will ink the page, but hopefully now you can see how this is going to work, because all we are going to do is now glue this on there so that it looks like that goes straight under there, but it doesn't. Right, so I'm just going to, and this is the part where you would want to do this as well if you want the pockets. You could glue it. I just find gluing lines for pockets sometimes gets a bit messy for me, so and it gets thicker because when you push the glue down, the glue spreads, so I find it easier to sew. So literally, and you're not going to see this, so I will show you. And you could do 3 big pockets, you could do 2 pockets and just sew in here, so you got a pocket there and a pocket there. What have we got here? 2, about 25. Well, that's not going to divide nicely, is it? So I'm going to come down 8. So my first sew line needs to, or your glue line would need to come in there. I'm going to come up 8. Maybe I'll go 7 centimeters, which is about 2 3/4 of an inch. Then I'll come up 7, and I'm going to sew through there as well. Okay, so if you're sewing, I'm just going to put it in my sewing machine, and I'm going to reverse, straight down, reverse, reverse, straight down, reverse. If you're gluing, you would need to glue here and then squish it. Okay, so that's the only difference. Sewing, we're going to sew through there. It's only through the one layer of folding. If you were gluing, you're just going to pull that back and you're going to glue where you want to put your pockets, and then you're going to push it down and probably put it under something heavy. Right, I'm just going to take off to my sewing machine because that's in the garage. Very, very hard for me to film in there, very dark. Gloomy, not a place I want to craft, so I will come back once I have just thrown a line of stitching through there. Okay, so you know me, I never cut off my threads, but in this situation is one of the few times that I do cut off my threads, so I want it to be nice and neat and not anything get in the way. Now, to be fair, when you're sewing, you do not have to sew right to that fold. It's just a guideline for the tags. So if you just sewed to there, it would still do the same job. There's nothing in a tag that's going to slip through that open gap if you've only sewn that much. So now, as you can see, we have our little pockets that are going to mean that that can't go anywhere. Our tags won't go anywhere when it's sitting behind a belly band. So the last step here is we just need to glue that little flap around. So I'm just going to quickly glue. I hope you guys like this idea. I'm so excited. And I know we're meant to be making our pages that you guys chose, but like I said, we've got to make other stuff too, because those 10 pages aren't going to fill up the whole journal. So, and I thought, oh, I hope they like this idea. So there we go. Now, because that's now got a nice folded edge, that means that nothing's going to get stuck when it goes into the folder either. So that's going to go in nice and easily. Now, depending on how much we glue this to the page is how deep your pocket's going to be on this side. Okay, so can you see it's already looking like belly band, but it's not, it's the Labyrinth Belly Band. But you don't want to just glue the edge either, because it kind of gives it away. You can kind of see that it's not as flat as that one. But in saying that, it's up to you. But what we need to do is we need to, now, hang on a second. The other thing is, that I did to make it look even more realistic is I sewed across the top and the bottom so that it really looked like it was sewn to the page. So I'm just going to quickly run before I stick it down, I'm just going to quickly run a zigzag stitch across the top and the bottom, and I'm just going to quickly ink in a few areas as well. And as you can see, I have not got that perfectly straight, so I will, when we glue it on, I'll glue it like that, and then I'll just trim a little bit. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly go and zigzag so that it looks like it was sewn to the page. There we go, done. And those I will leave a little bit of thread, because that is where I like the thread, because it's purely decoration and not for mechanics. Now, if you weren't going to sew that, I'll get my ugly little template out. At the moment this is still sticking up, so if you're not going to sew like I just did, you are just going to lift that. You're going to put a little bit of glue there and a little bit of glue there. And if you were doing the glue pockets, I should have said this as well, you would have done glue your lines for your pockets and the bottom one, and put it down all at once. Okay, that's if you're not sewing. But then, I mean, you could also just have lifted that up and put a little bit of glue there, and lifted that one up and put a bit of glue there, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world. All right, so now, and the other part before you did this, if you wanted to, so I am going to put a little bit of lace trim or something on here, is what I'm thinking. You guys would have seen it at the beginning if that's what I decided to do. Before I sewed that bit, I could have just used that flap and I could have sewn it on, and I could still sew that on now, but I'm just going to glue it on for this. All right, so now the question is, how much are we going to glue? And I'm thinking I'm going to want a pocket that's at least that big. Okay, so I am going to glue about this much down to the page. So please tell me in the comments if you've seen this before, or if my Labyrinth Belly Band can actually be called Labyrinth Belly Band, because it is something that maybe I came up with. Okay, and across the top as well. And then all we are going to do I just want to make sure that by eye those, I might actually grab the roller because I really want that illusion to move that down a little bit. There we go. So about there. And we just need to make sure that that's looking straight-ish. And then I really do want to just put it under something heavy so that this part here sticks down nicely and that part. Okay, so I will be back once that's dry. Okay, so now the decorating, which is going to hide our mechanics and make that look even more like a belly band, I think. So use whatever you've got. Honestly, I will put a masterboard in there that you can print that's like this. This though is one of my actual collage pieces that I've cut up, and I've just put a couple of extra stamps on there. So the digital itself will be this background, and then if you've got some stamps you could throw them all over it, and then it, you know, makes it look a little bit more like you made the collage. I'm going to leave them plain because I need them to slide into the pockets. But I thought, and this was my template one, and I'll make one with you, but I really love these little things, and I've never figured out anything that I can do with them. And then I realized they'd make cute little pulls for the tags. So I'll put one there and one there. And then for this guy, again, I bought these little hinges thinking, oh, that'd be so cute. they work for absolutely nothing, because if I wanted them to be, say, a little booklet hinge, they don't have any room between them, so then that sits out. I mean, I guess I could. But anyway, I thought we could just put them on there like that. And then I could put a little piece of string before I put that through there, and then that will have a little pull string. And just, yeah. So these are just from Temu. They'd have them on AliExpress, etc. Just look up little box hinges or antique hinges, and something will pop up. I don't, as you know, bother putting links, because it completely depends what country you're in as to whether they actually sell them in your version of Temu, and even then the links expire, so I stopped doing that a while ago. So all I've done, and I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs, it is a piece of card. I have angled it and I have corner punched the bottoms. I just find that makes tags go in easier. I don't even know if that's true or not, but anyway. And then all I did was take my circle punch, because like I say, I am not even sure if you guys will have anything like that, but I will show you just in case you do. And I thought, if you've got some of those brass rings that were used for resining, you could even put a brass ring there, and I would hand stitch in 3 places so that it stays on, then you'd have a little brass ring. So I thought, this isn't completely useless, me showing you this, even though you wouldn't have maybe these little things here. And I just trimmed these little sharp bits just a little bit. I didn't leave them there like that because I thought they'd just get caught on everything anyway. Quickly, so I have put just some lined paper on the back. It could be coffee paper. Some of you, I know I'm a bit pedantic when it comes to this. Coffee paper would be perfectly fine. Some people just leave them white, and there is nothing wrong with that either. I don't know, I have a thing about it, so I find I can't do that. Now, 10 minutes later, I found it. And then obviously you just slide it down until you can't see the little circle anymore, and I literally just glued it. I didn't do anything fancy. I mean, you could stitch it, but I think the glue will be just fine. So I just figured out this one's a little bit irregular, but that's all right. I'll stick that side down. I'm just going to put glue. That's it. So that's another one done. I don't think I even want to put anything fancy on there. That is for me an old ledger. So, and that's what the back looks like. And that's it. Simple as a simple tag with a cute little something just a little bit different rather than the standard eyelet and lace. Or so this one, I have got these teeny tiny little they're called either two-sided rivets or double-sided rivets, and they're just teeny tiny little ones. I think they're only about 3 mil, and Temu does use metric, so let's have a look. I'd go 6 mil if you're looking for them, double-sided rivets or two-sided rivets, and it should come up. And then I'm just going to place this on where I want it, make sure it's even-ish. Then I'm just going to grab a pen so I know where I need my little holes. I'm going to use, I probably should just use an awl, because even the small hole looks like it might be a bit big, but we're soon going to find out. At least it won't matter if I don't line it up perfectly. Now I'm just going to use this string. It's just like, I just got it from a $2 shop. Hopefully it's not too thick, otherwise I might need to get something thinner. I was just going to put it through there. I've never done this before. And then put that on there. And put these little guys through. So let's see, there's one. And then I just give them a good pinch with the pliers so that they stay on. And then when you pinch them with pliers, like, you get the first satisfying click, but when you pinch them with pliers you get the second click. Want to click, but that's alright, because I thought, well, you could use brads, but I don't know how you're going to hide the brads on the other side. I don't really like that. So I went with this option, and I might just tie a little bow. There we go. And that just makes, it's just a little bit different for a tag, isn't it? That guy can go in there. And that guy can go in there. What do we think? Just check my tags are the same size. Yeah. These ones anyway. There we go. And because we've got the little hidden pockets in there, they're not going anywhere behind our belly band. And then we just need to, I'll probably put ephemera of some sort in there, like genuine ephemera. So you could put a journaling card, you could put your own ephemera. I was thinking this would look really cute, just with a little bit of this either side. I'm not convinced it needs anything in the middle yet, but we might do that later. So I'm just going to cut that to where I need it, and I'll just give it a little bit more in case I cut it wrong. And I'm going to literally just glue along this little part here. So where I get these from is usually they're just like little serviettes, like the cotton ones, and I pick them up if they've got nice edges like this, and I just cut the edges off and I use them because I think they're gorgeous. So and I am going to bring it so that here's the edge of my belly band here, about there. So I have brought this in a little bit because I don't want this little decorative edge to make putting the tags and ephemera in more difficult. And then I'm just going to pop that on the other side, and I'll be back. So I've just got a genuine old catalogue card, and as you know, I'm not going to be knocking anything out of there. I can just sit it in, and I mean I might put a couple of other things as well when I'm decorating the journal that are probably genuine. Maybe I've got a couple of old letters and things that I might pop in there. But there we go, that's another page in our journal done. Now all I've got to do is get out my scoreboard. I'll score through there and I will have that all finished and folded, and you would have seen that when we were at the beginning of the video. So if you are new here, welcome. I'm glad you came to join us. If you've been following along anyway, or you've got Come Make With Me kit, I am so happy that you are here crafting with me. It's never too late to start either. These videos will always be there. The digital kit will always be there. There's no hurry, or you can use these ideas with your own stash. There's absolutely no pressure there to make it exactly like mine or to use the materials I do. So yeah, thank you for being here. And next week, hopefully, if my brain doesn't come up with a whole lot of new things again, we will crack back into doing another one of our pages that you guys chose. So until next time, thank you for being with me, and I will see you next week. Mā te wā!